Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Roadster Rumble. We are back for season number 5, thanks to Simworx Race Simulations. And we're kicking off tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for what should be an exciting 3-race event again tonight. Looking forward to your company. Let's get involved, share the stream. Let's head down to the track and check out some times. So we just round out practice right now, 36 minutes into practice. These are the times at the moment. We have got a few little things we need to discuss, being that we are in a brand new season as Jack Boyd tops the times. I've read that story before. Jack Boyd very good once again tonight. The colours, as we had last season, will represent the Roadster Rumble classes. Let me quickly bring them up on the screen for you just to try and run through the little changes. We've got Group A, Group B, Group C and Group D this time around, but they've actually combined the cars. So Group A and B will share the 2016 Global Cup car, and Group C and D will share the 2010 MX-5 Legacy Cup car. So should be good. There's about, I think from memory, 10 horsepower difference between the two variants of MX-5, so they will be split, but we'll see the drivers obviously with that little banner next to their name, and we'll remind you throughout the night who's who. The blue there being the top Group A drivers. Keith's in the house. Hello, Keith. Welcome tonight, mate. Spike Goddard's there as well. Hello, Spike. And Will Wilson's over on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard tonight for this Roadster Rumble with the Mazda MX-5s doing a battle once again, thanks to lots of brand new sponsors, but Simworx, of course, Simworx Race Simulators being the major sponsor for this series. As we just see the final little bit of practice underway, Indianapolis. Let's have a quick look from the air just to give you an idea of this circuit. It doesn't use the complete oval section. It goes to an infield, much like we see at Daytona. For example, there's a track map just to give you an indication, but we do come out through what is turn, it's backwards, isn't it? So it's turn 1 and 2, but running in the opposite direction. So I had to think for a second there, but Indy is definitely anti-clockwise, isn't it, from memory? Someone can point that out if I'm wrong, and I am every now and then very, very wrong. So feel free to point it out if I've completely forgotten and messed that up. Jacob Neese is in the house too. Hobbo's away tonight, so hello to Hobbo if he's tuning in and watching. He won't make it to the race tonight, but he's no doubt he'll be back for next week's round. Hobbo 88, much loved by all the fans and competitors, as well as we see Luke Claver out there in the Simworx racing car. Lucas Stassi just behind him in 18th place. There's Andrew Dutch off the track. Van Egmon's come back for another showing tonight, currently sitting in 20th place. As we look at the class leaders at the top of the screen right now, we've got a foreign one in there, Race Control. We might just try and fix that up, but we've got at the moment Boyd, Ellis, Wooten and Linus leading those classes, so fantastic job. Right, about a minute to go. We'll do a few little housekeeping things before we get underway, and we'll get set for qualifying, then race number 1. Time to go qualifying here for the Roadster Rumble season number 5. It will be lone qualifying with how many drivers we've got? I think we've got well over that 45 mark again tonight. They do pack a punch They love this series. We will be jumping around through the drivers through qualifying. We'll put the qualifying mode on the bottom of the screen too. But I do remind you, this is alone qualifying, so we only get to see one car at a time. So Lucas Stassi is the first car out onto the racetrack. Andrew Dutch just going out as well. So when I flick between cars, you'll notice there's quite an empty track around them. And the reason for that is it makes sure that they can not blame anyone else. It's all about just setting the best lap time you can get without any distractions or interruptions as we watch Dutch on his out lap right now. Let's pick up Sam Lehman as well in the number 1-5. Let's have a quick ride on board. Will Wilson says, what's the most amount of cars you can have on the track at once? I think it's 63 for this racetrack, which we're going to get pretty close to. If everyone that's registered for this series turned up, I think we'd have 65 or so drivers. So it's a huge field of cars. It's very popular. And a big shout out to Greg Holmes, who puts this together and does a massive amount of work in the background to make this league happen. I'll try and pick him up in a second, but Graham Ellis is out there. Remember Graham from last season? A great supporter of the channel as well. Car's looking good. Methanol Moonshine. He's getting set to do battle again tonight down there in Group B. So he's sharing the faster car this time out. Owen Coleman, Group A driver. What can he do tonight? Racing in the Motorsport Haulers racing team. And I'm looking for Greg. Oh, sorry, I remember Greg told me now. He's actually not driving tonight. Greg's in race control. So as my memory comes back to me, Greg's up in race control tonight. He'll hopefully be back next week. Nathan Button heading out now in the Iridium Sim Sports racing car and about to get underway. Well, he is getting underway for his first flying lap. We ride on board through the little flick, turn 1 into the left-handed turn 2. So it's into the infield section. They go straight after the start finish straight, and then they start to weave their way around. These MX-5s quite forgiving. You can give them a fair bit of stick and they generally follow where you point the steering wheel, and they're quite easy to recover and save as well, which is a good little attribute that they do have. So we'll just stick with Nathan Button here as Henry Fenson setting a couple of good sector times there down the bottom. Spike says a good IndyCar race there in the wet. Be interesting around the infield in the wet. Henry Fenton says, welcome back, Luke. Keen for a new season. Got a new livery thanks to Greg Holmes himself. So we'll try and check that out for Henry shortly as we watch Nathan Button sliding his way out of contention on that lap. So he's going to have to start that one again, unfortunately. So here is Henry Fenton. And don't forget, folks, comments king. So if you're a driver or the friend of a driver and you want to see them on the screen, got to make some noise, and that will give them plenty of airtime. There's a long shot from the drone cam just showing the 110 of Fenton as he has a brand new look car for this season, painted by Greg Holmes. Looks fantastic, and he'll also be hoping to see if he can, I guess, encroach on the top grouping, because when you're in Group B, the key is to try and sneak up into the Group A drivers, as Patterson goes to the top now on a 1:42.44 is beaten now by Marty Turner. So Chicken Up racing at the top, Patterson racing P2, Owen Coleman into third now, gapping half a second for the top 6. Let's keep an eye on some sector times down the order a little bit as they start to come through. I'll pick up who's on a best sector lap at the moment. Seeing a little bit of purple from Simon Joel Smith, which put him up there within half a second into P10. Someone who's going quickly is this man, Jack Boyd, all the way down there off the board at the moment. But let's ride on board with Boydie as he aims to stick this on pole position provisionally. He does a 21.63 in the first sector. Comparing that to your best time, it was a 21.76, so about a tenth quicker at the moment than Lee Harrison, who's currently holding on to turn 1. Look at the way he's just having to steer that into the corner, back it in as such. And now as he comes through to finish up this infield section and then point back towards the oval, let's see what he does through sector 2. Goes purple again, so he's on a double purple sector lap now, with one more sector to go. Obviously the best we've seen so far through the middle sector, a 33.8 for Boyd. The leader at the moment did a 33.86, so it's about 2/100ths of a second in that middle sector. But now the run to the line, very important to get this nice and flowing through the final corner. Don't wash out for any speed at all. And Jack Boyd to the line, should go to the top with this time, I presume, and he does, with a 41.8. So to the top now with a 141.8. Ashley Norman goes into second place. Patterson's gone third, Coleman fourth. As we look back to then Group B, it's Lucas Stassi. No, Simon Joel Smith just eclipsed that time. So Simon Joel Smith leading Group B. And then Group C at the moment, which is the red bannered cars. It's Steve McMahon. And he comes around 28th outright at this moment. Gogol also leading Group D, although Foster's just pipped him. Mark Foster's gone to the top in Group C, to the line with about 4 minutes to go. How does McMahon do? Does he leap back? He does, so back up into the lead of Group C. Fantastic job. We'll have a look down further. Some drivers that are yet to set a time. Anthony Connors does set a time now, best for him, 38th place at the moment. Brad Wooten, another driver, not to put a time on the board yet. We've got 52 drivers tonight. So 52 drivers. MX5 is going to kick off this race tonight. That is mega, and a big pat on the back to all the hard work that's done by Greg in the background to get this series up and running. They do fun races all the time. It's a great community to be a part of. And just go check the link in the description for the Roadster Rumble, and you can go and join their Facebook page and get all over it, because man, even when they're not doing these broadcast races, they are doing something exciting. Watching Brad Wooten cross the line now. Does he set a time? He goes as close as he can to the wall to set a time that's good enough for P29 outright and to the top of the Group C time. So lovely job. Puts him right up there. Losh is out there in fourth, and I think has bailed out of that lap. Only get the 2 flying laps. Marty Turner crossing the line now. 4/10 off the pace. Does he improve? No. As Wood also coming back to the pits. Kyle Ridley into the lane as well. Matt Van Egmond has stopped out on the track. Willits has crossed the line, 21st place. And with lone qualifying, there's not a lot of, well, you can't really check battles, can you? Because they're by themselves. But what you can check is sector times, and it looks like no one is now improving. Let's have a look at the weather. Well, we've got a second. It's 25 degrees, 28 degrees track temperature. Partly cloudy out there. Time 9:17 local time here at Indianapolis for tonight's race. About 2 minutes to go. Willits out there. Let's have a look at Adam Hill Motion as well for ADRSR Racing. 25th place outright at the moment, and a fair way off where he wants to be for Group B. Keep an eye on his time. Can he improve? He's got to find at the moment, what is it about? To find where Henry Fenton is, it's a fair margin. It's about a second he has to find. So Fenton looking very, very good tonight at the moment. And it's in fact, it is Henry, isn't it? Henry Fenton with the top time for Group B. So we confirm that up the top. He's coming out all guns blazing. Only a minute and a bit to go in this qualifying session. Then we go into the 3-race format. So a little bit about tonight. I'll just go across and read you some of the information about this Roadster Rumble challenge, because it is the first race back after a few weeks off, and they were very accommodating to me as well. I had some things on, and it was nice to have a couple of weeks off. But 4 classes this season, so 2 classes in each car, of course, and the Roadster is out using just the 2010 and the 2016 Cup cars. Race 1 and 2 will be a 7-lap sprint race. Then we go to the feature race, 14-lap feature. They will need to make a stop for fuel in the feature race tonight. And the grid will be set with the 2016 cars at the front, and race control will move the 2016 cars from the rear of the grid to the tail of the 16 cars if needed for the start. Rolling starts again this season. And a big thanks to the boys over in 24/7 Race Control, looking after things tonight, making sure everyone is well behaved. Everyone's gone off the track now. It's just this man, Marty Turner, out there trying to set a last-minute ditched time to improve. He's sitting in P7. He's heading around with only 15 seconds to make it to the line, so he's not going to make it to the line, which means, you know what? It's time for us to go to the grid. Time for us to get racing. Race number 1, about to get underway. Tyson Hanmer in the house. Thanks, man. Welcome aboard tonight for the first race. Rolling start here for the Roadster Rumble. And as we see the drivers start to grid up behind the Porsche safety car, let's run through the official grid right now. And we'll just run it in order tonight. And the overall grid, obviously there will be some that move around, possibly due to the fact that we're going to class it up. The classes will move around. But Jack Boyd's put it on pole position. Ashley Norman goes P2. Patterson and Losh with Harrison, Coleman, Turner down there in 7th place. Ricky's got himself in 8th tonight. And then you've got Wood and Fenson to round out your top 10. Fenson is the top Group B qualifier. Seeger and Smith in there in 12th place. Over the page for 13th, Stassi with Oliver. Then you've got Ridley and Boyd. A couple more of the Group A drivers finding their way down into the mid-pack. Dutch and Edwards down there as well. Eggman, Ellis, Willits and Clever down there in 22nd place. Heath Logan out of 23 tonight with Scott Baker for company in 24th position. As we have the page, 25th. It's Hill Motion in 25th with Hosking, Morgan and Middleton, your top 28. Then we go to the Group C with Brad Wooten qualifying at the top of Group C tonight. McMahon next to him with Foster, Lehman, Nelson. Maddie's down there in 34th place. Connors and Canto, your top 36. 37th on the grid. It goes back a long way. Moroz and Pears. Then we go to Gogol in 39th, top Group D qualifier. Next to him, Linus. Then you got Thorne, Cuthbertson, Patterson, Button down in 44th. Paradiso down in 45th with Roberts, Rodkin and Doherty running out your 48. 49th on the grid. Nancaro, Harrison down there in 50th with Adam John in 51st. And Jamie Walker off the back tonight. 52nd place on the grid. Oh my gosh, what a grid of MX5 machines for this race tonight, with Jack Boyd grabbing himself pole position. That is incredible. We are in for one heck of a start, and it will be a big long rolling start here. There it is, there's the grid. I'll turn the music down so we can enjoy this. The safety car yet to get underway, so we just got to be patient here. And look at that grouping of cars. It is massive. So they will split it up slightly, so there's a little bit of a buffer between each group, but I'm predicting maybe round 1 of the season a little craziness. Look at that, what a field of cars. Eddie says, here we go, come on Nancaro. He's got a lot of cars in front of him. In fact, if you're sitting down where Nancaro is, Michael Nancaro in 48th place, just getting off the line now. Have a look at this. In front of him, 47 other drivers ready to get racing. That is mega, isn't it? Jack Boyd was so quick last season, and he's starting off again where he left off, up the front. The field behind him will just be tucked in. Thinking about it, it's a long lap here for a rolling lap at Indianapolis. But behind the safety car, it just gives them that extra chance to warm up their tyres and just suss out the competitors around them as well, and give race control a chance also to gap the field if need be. We'll have a look from the air. So you can just see from above now. We'll zoom right out. We'll see a couple of gaps starting to form, I think, between the classes. So there you go, at the end of the Group B train, it's starting to form a little gap out for then the Group C and Group D competitors to hang in behind. So it's Brad Wooten, as you can see back there, with about probably 200 metres between them. He'll now form up with the Group C and Group D cars at the back for that second staging part of the grid. So it is a massive field of cars. And let's get set to get underway and racing. So 7 laps. Hold on to your hats. It's about to get very fast as they enter the Thunderdome here in Indianapolis. Jacob Neasy says a stack pack could be carnage early. Is anyone else secretly hoping there is a little bit of carnage? No, of course not. Surely we're not hoping for carnage. These guys tend to race pretty smooth, but like I said, first race jitters. You just never know. They run around the banking now through what we'll call turn 3 into 4 tonight. I know they do race the other way around here at Indianapolis, but through 4 now. As we go clockwise and bring us on to the main straight, let's get ready to rumble really should use that phrase, seeing as we are the Roadster Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. It's the Roadster Rumble, thanks to race simulators, Simworx race simulators, and there's the green light. We're underway for season number 5, and a great start by Boyd. Out in front with Norman, Patterson, Losh, Harrison. Turner's already got the jump on a couple there with Owen Coleman dropping back 2 positions. What a grouping of cars. As you can see, the Group B guys just coming onto the straight in the background. But here's the run down into the first big braking zone now. Hold on to your horses. Are they going to get through safely? Looks so far so good. Everyone very well behaved through the switchback now. Boyd out in front. He's done a perfect job, and he has got through there. No incident at all for these drivers. Remember, we've got 52 of them out on the track tonight. Here comes the Group C and D as well. And so far, the CDs are just as good as the ABs. Fantastic opening start here from the 2010 cars as well. Back there in Group C and D. Meanwhile, at the front, though, Boyd's got away perfectly. He's got himself about half a second gap already. As it's back in the pack here, really goes side by side. Fenson goes side by side as well with Simon Joel Smith. Fenson goes around the outside, and really good, neat wheel-to-wheel racing in this opening lap. The race, Turner under pressure here from Coleman, who goes down the inside, gives him a bit of a rough up. So Coleman makes some contact there with Turner. They got away with it. The Chicken Up Racing car stays out in front for now. Almost a little bit of nose-to-tail contact again in the braking zone, but nothing to write home about. So far, so good. Let's go to the front again. Here's your race leader, 7/10 of a second out in front. Jack Boyd for Boyd Racing ahead of Patterson Racing's Caleb Patterson as they lead back onto the pit straight to finish lap 1 of 7. Behind them, Lee Harrison. He's in a nice tow. We'll see a fair bit of this slipstreaming tonight. Harrison will get right up behind the Chicken Up Racing of Ashley Norman and now move alongside and try and overtake. Go to the inside line of the Palmer's car and then squirt down the inside under brakes. A 150 from a rolling start for Boyd. And the last sector, very quick from Losh in the background as well. He's closed right up onto the back of this top 4 battle. Look at that, 3 wide in the background as Turner, Ricky and Coleman go in there all together. So Ricky Provenzal, hopefully I'm saying that right, Ricky. Message me if I'm not, but Provenzal at the moment, 7th place for the I Kitchen Phoenix Smokers car. And we've lost John Thorne, I think, has crashed out on the opening lap there, but everyone else is continuing on. Boyd still holds that margin out in front, but look at Lee Harrison now starting to really close up onto the back of Ashley Norman. Let's go back to Group B. Henry Fenson is holding that charge, and he's ahead of Simon Joel Smith by about 3/10 of a second. They're mixed up and muddled in between the Group A drivers at the moment. Fenson leading Group B, Lehman leading Group C. Sam Lehman doing a fantastic job in 28th place, up 4 off the start. And then our Group D competitor that's leading at the moment is Ant Cupperson, who did a great job last season too. There's Ant. And ooh, down the inside goes Andrew Pears. Andrew Pears is a Group C driver, so Ant won't be too concerned about that under brakes. But there's some nice new liveries out there tonight with 52 cars to look at. It's going to be a busy night of just looking around the cars, isn't it? Your race leader comes onto the pit straight ahead of Patterson and Norman. Norman, though, on the charge. Here he goes. Let's jump down to the nose camera. That's how close he is. Inside, basically, the car in front. And here comes Losh in the background getting a triple tow. Losh almost thinks about a run down the inside, but then backs out. It's Patterson in second now. Harrison holds on to third. Back in the pack a little bit. There's some more moves and changes going on. It was Simon Joel Smith now leading that Group B charge as Henry Fenson drops back a position on board with Fenson now. Incredible close racing, and so far it has been mega clean. Nelson's just dropped out of Group B, but so far I haven't seen too much rubbing or too many incidents to write home about. So with 24/7 race control watching over things, these drivers are on their best behaviour and doing a beautiful job. There's Aaron Oliver in 15th place at the moment. The biggest mover and shaker so far in the race, Scott Baker. He's doing a beautiful job. Up 7 spots into the top 17 now in the Golf Sabre racing car. Looking the part and chasing down Lukey Boy at the moment, who's just in front. So Good hard racing all the way around. Let's go back to Group C with Sam Lehman under pressure now from Brad Wooten. Bradley just in behind the Direct Clutch Motorsport Simworx Racing entry. Jump on board with him now. So getting the gear shifts right is so important in these cars. I was saying before, they're not hugely powered motor vehicles. We flick back to your race leader. Jack Boyd is doing his best to break the toe in the most obvious sense, going right down the pit wall there. These are about 181 horsepower at 7,000 RPM with a 2-litre naturally aspirated motor. So they're a 16-valve 4-cylinder with VVT, which I presume is the Mazda version of the VTEC kicking in. So they got VVT, variable valve timing, I presume that's what that stands for. And they're 4-wheel disc brake cars, so independent, double wishbone front and multi-link rear suspension. So they're a decent little package, a lot of fun to race. That's why they're quite a big class overseas. They did try and get them up and running here in Australia, and they did to some success. I'm not sure if they're still doing a lot with them, but at one stage there was a lot of them running around, I know, Wakefield Park and other smaller circuits and enjoying themselves. They've got a 6-speed manual transmission, although someone might correct me, I think the latest, they've actually been upgraded, as we see Luke and Scotty Baker in the Sabre racing car down the inside on Luke Claver up into 15th place now. But someone might correct me if I'm wrong. I think they may have upgraded these in iRacing now to a paddle shift, although the gear stick's still there. But obviously with that Safecraft stitching there, or the netting that goes across, you're not going to be able to reach that gear stick. So I'm pretty sure they've upgraded these to a full sequential transmission with paddle shift in the real world as well, but they did that in iRacing. So
Turn 1 of this lap, Class C, car number 15.
So Lehman asking, he's asking race control to have a look at something as we go 3 wide again. This will surely end in tears. It doesn't. There's a couple of teammates in there. Oh boy, that was Cameron Edwards off in a big way up on 2 wheels. We'll have to have a look at that again because that was massive. Here we go. So watch this. We'll get the super slow-mo. So Edwards tips it in there. Now watch the contact. It's his secondary contact there. Up on 2 wheels. How's that for action? And he skims across the dirt and into the fence. Kept it out of the fence, in fact. Good job. But bit of excitement for Cameron Edwards, who holds on to 22nd place for the Down Under Sim Esports team. So there's a little bit going on with race control now, being asked to just investigate a few incidents that are happening out on the track. We're at lap 5 of 7. Jack Boyd looking pretty untouchable, although Lee Harrison is remaining within about half a second. In fact, make that 0.2 of a second. He's just closed that margin in a big way. We're right on board with him on to what will be Giraffe Central. Kyle Ridley's gone off. Oh, into the fence big time. So Down Under Sim Esports, in the space of a lap, they've had 2 drivers involved in a big crash. Jokin's in the house. Hello, Jokin. And wow, it's all happening. Let's go back to the front because this is on for the lead of this race with 2 laps to go. Lap 6 of 7, 8 minutes in, and Lee Harrison making his move. But hello, Ashley Norman arrives on the scene and says, I'll go past both of you. He looks down the inside, but he doesn't go past Boyd. Boyd hangs on, and for now remains in the lead of this race. Wow. Will Wilson says some of the new real-world Australian TCR cars have a stick, but use full sequential pedals as well. Yeah, I think that's true. So, yeah, but as far as I know, a lot of guys are disappointed that they actually upgraded these to the sequential shift. And I think it's locked to the sequential shift, so you can't use the H pattern anymore in iRacing. Anyway, Joking, I'm very well, thanks, mate. Great to have you watching again, mate. I hope you're getting a little bit of relaxation between all your work. I think you're a bit like me. Too many shifts and not enough time just to chill. As Owen Coleman now drops back a little bit. Henry Fenson still leading that Group B charge. There's the group leaders at the top of your screen right now. Put the classes up there so you can just see again from the new key what's what. Oh, that's not what we want to see. That's the wrong button there. Let's have a quick look at the classes get it right that time. There you go. So Group A and Group B this season in the 2016 Global Cup car, with Group C and D in the 2010 MX5 Cup car, Legacy Cup car. So both Cup cars in full use here tonight, and your group leaders up the top at the moment: Boyd, Fenson, Wooten and Gurgol. So he's pulled out a bit of a margin now, 0.6 of a second coming into the white flag, 1 to go. That's exactly what Jack Boyd needed to do, and he's letting Norman and Harrison biff it out for P2 at the moment. In fact, that gap's just come down again, hasn't it? So we're going to get a great little last lap battle here, I reckon. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars here within 1.5 seconds. Any of these cars could win this race, but Jack Boyd definitely looking the top gun at the moment, as Wayne Losh went off the circuit. Now he comes back on. He's dropped to the back of that pack. How about Norman and Harrison up in front? Gee, they've been on each other's tail lap after lap, and it was Harrison that almost had a run for the lead last time round. Now he's dropped back to third. What can he do in this last half a lap now? Because Jack Boyd has got an 0.8 of a second margin, and he's just starting to pull away slightly. So it's looking good for Boyd out in front to win race number 1 tonight and start off his account with some very, very good points. Season number 5. What better way to kick it off with a win? So we just watch him now. Once he gets onto that oval section, he should be safe with that kind of distance. I reckon Norman will be a little bit worried though, having Lee Harrison tucked right up behind him, and Harrison probably should just wait now until this part getting onto the oval. He's going to go the long way around the outside. Norman moves back over. You want to try and get some advantage of the toe here if you can. He's going to get alongside. I reckon Norman may hold on if he can hang out there, but Jack Boyd's done enough at the front. He takes the checker flag in race number 1. Excellent job by 0.5 of a second, and then Harrison and Norman finish second and third. Turner gets fourth, followed by Losh, and then we wait for Henry Fenson. He does get the Group B honours with a win. Back to Brad Wooten. How's he going? He's coming onto the straight now. Oh, there's a damaged car there. So Brad Wooten coming around. He will take the Group C checker flag. So we're having a look at him now coming down to take Group C's checker. Well done, Brad Wooten. Top points for him. And then Dave Gugol, he will take out Group D for race number 1 as he comes around onto the straight as well. So good job. We've got 2 more races, another 7-lap dash coming up straight after this. We'll get the results for you soon, and we'll see who won all the classes. Here we go. The Heat 1 results, we'll go through class by class. I think is probably the best way to do it this season. Bring Group A up first of all, and your Group A winner there, Jack Boyd from Harrison and Norman, your top 3. We go to Group B then, and your top 3 in Group B was Fenson, Claver and Keith Logan. Nice job to be third there. The Southern Cross Racing 6 seconds off the winner, Fenson in Group B. Across to Group C now. And the winner for Group C was Wooten. Great job there by 3.5 seconds over Connors. And Mark Foster got your top 3 in Group C. And then the winner of Group D, the final class of that first race, it was Gugol with Cuthbertson and Patterson, your top 3 for Group D. This is how the outright looked, or the overall results looked, for your top 18. So a couple of the Group B drivers just able to sneak in there and have a little bit of a run. Brad Wooten right up there in 23rd outright, so nice finish for the Group C competitor. 32nd outright for Dave Gugol, and the top Group D competitor as well. So there's your full results. We'll get set now to go to race number 2. Rolling start once again. Boyd leads us away. This is how they will grid up, and it will get shuffled around slightly. As we spoke about at the start, race control will just move some of the Group C and D competitors back down the order a little bit. There's a bit of chatter out there.
Did you get in second place, Foster?
Jacob Neasley saving his coin to buy a gaming PC. That sounds good, mate. We'll see you out here racing before we know it. Let's go to the next page of the grid. There's Boyd up there in 13th place. Keith Logan's done well, hasn't he? He's starting third in class for this race. For great performance, and Wooten down there in 23rd will start top of the Group C classing. Big field of cars. There's Dave Gogol down in 32nd with Cuthbertson and Patterson. Rounding out your 52 drivers. Race control obviously at the back, watching on, getting set to go. So rolling start once again. Jack Boyd has looked pretty consistent and hard to beat tonight. Let's see what happens in race number 2. We'll get ready to go live shortly. So once again, they separate the field into the two classes at the front. Brad Wooten should be dropping back a bit. There he is. So there's your Group C and D, which is just holding back from the back of Nilsson to give a little bit of a buffer there, which I think is a great thing to do. A lot of series don't do that, but it just takes a little bit of that first corner incident out of play. Now I've said that, we'll probably have a huge dust up. Okay, so race number 2, another 7-lap affair about to get underway. As we hold station, there's a look out the back of Jack Boyd's car. He'll be ready to kick the boot right into that throttle and just try to sneak away from Harrison. I reckon Harrison is probably his biggest challenge. He got 2 chicken up racing cars behind him as well. Watch Lee Harrison on the jump on the outside up against the outer wall here. I reckon he may just try and sneak past Boyd through turn 1. We wait for the green. There it is. We're underway in racing for race number 2. 7 laps. Roadster Rumble. Round number 1 here. Race number 2. In the background, they're already 3 or 4 wide. In the very background, you can see Group C and D also lining up ready to go, but we'll stay here for the run through turn 1. Good luck, drivers. 4 wide as we head in. It is Boyd leading. And then it's Harrison, Norman, Ricky, then Turner, Coleman. A couple of places being traded there in the top 5 or 6. Keith Logan going right around there as well in 15th place. Did everyone get through cleanly? I think they did. How's Sam Lehman out in front? Wooten in behind. Wooten dropped a position off the start there. Pears also tucked in behind. That's for Group C, but at the front there is plenty of moving and shaking going on. Ricky Turner. Sorry, Marty Turner. I knew I'd call him Ricky Turner, but I was either going to call him Ricky Turner or, because it's Martin Turner, I was going to call him Ricky Martin. But Marty Turner, who we're watching right now, sitting in 4th place. The top 4 have held position. That's Caleb Patterson, that's made up 3 at the jump on the start of this race. They're doing a nice job. Let's jump on board with him as he tucks up behind the Castro car of Ricky, High Kitchen, Phoenix Smokers Racing. There's a couple of incidents back in the play. I'm sure race control looking at in Dutch on the radio right now, speaking about just that. Logan as well. So what's happened to Keith here? A quick look at that. Keith Logan's gone off track. Here's a replay. Is there a bit of contact here? Logan was on the inside. The V race car went down the inside then, and Keith nowhere to go. Might get a little bit of a penalty for that one, but that's why. Andrew Dutch also, let's have a look at the Dutch incident. Here's another replay for you of Dutch. Just take that back a bit because that's already way past the fact. So, oh yeah, this will be another slam dunk penalty. That one, the 98 out of shape, got straight into the side of Dutch, and that's unfortunately how that one happened, and that's why Dutch was straight on the radio to race control saying, hey, can you look at this? and help me sort it out. Look at this battle behind. Ricky, Provenzale and Patterson all over each other here. Pear's asking for a black flag to be cleared. Generally, they don't do that very often unless there's a good reason for it. So I wonder what's happened to one, get him a black flag, and why he expects to have it cleared. Quite often, it's they will say nope. The iRacing black flag will stand. So I'm sure they're investigating that right now as we speak. Group B, Graham Ellis doing a beautiful job leading Group B on lap 2 of 7. Ellis and then Wooten's leading Group C. Patterson leading Group D. Jacob Neasley says he's put his money on Boydie for going for 2 from 2. Be a perfect start to his season if he can do just that. A couple of drivers in the pit lane as well. There's no need for fuel stops on this first 2 races. It's all about just sprinting to the flag. Race 3 will have a compulsory pit stop. So it's quite busy, isn't it, out in the pack there? Any wonder Greg's up in race control tonight. There is so much to look at. Big dive down the inside. Oh, that was deep under brakes. There was contact there, and Ridley's gone around. Wait for this. He'll be on the blower to race control as well. That was definitely not his fault. And let's listen in.
Race control, lap 3, turn 1. Might have been using under brakes, not sure.
So straight away.
Race control copy.
Race controls copy that one. They're going to have a look at that. So it's nicely run, this series. You can hear those clear communications. Rescue also now issue being reported. So Nathan Button's gone into the pits. And there's a lot going on back in the field. But let's have a quick look at your race leader once again. Jack Boyd out in front from Lee Harrison, the top 2, covered by 0.6 of a second. Let's jump into the driver's seat here for a moment with Lee Harrison. And see if Fires Camp's going to work for us tonight. Here we go for a lap around Indianapolis. Board visor cam. It's a good view, isn't it? You can see the work being done through the steering wheel. It's a bit going on with Ashley Norman now, just sneaking through into the lead of the race. Jack Boyd tucked right up behind. I know Boyd won't want to stay there for too long. I think he enjoys leading from the front. But Ashley went for the big double slipstream down the pit straight, got it done. Now needs to try and pull away. We noticed in race 1. With Boyd at about 8 to 9/10 of a second margin, he could actually hold that quite comfortably over the trailing cars and weave around, break the toe, all that sort of thing. So let's have a look as we come back onto the dome now. Norman only leads by 1/10, and here comes Boyd, here comes Harrison. Turner's not too far behind this as well. Oh, look at Harrison down on the inside trying to get a run. So they're ganging up here on Boyd. Jack Boyd goes back to the lead. In fact, with the bump draft, Jack gets elevated back into P1. That was nice. So helping each other, these drivers. When does that all stop though, as we go 3 wide once again down into turn 1? Hold your breath. Oh boy, I thought the Chicken Up racing car was going to get knocked off the track then, but they held on 2 by 2. They hold it together. Boyd back into the lead now, 0.4 of a second, lap 5 of 7. Aaron Oliver moves his way up into P7 as well. The biggest mover and shaker out there is Simon Joel Smith, up 29 positions in this race. Some of that is to do with being elevated up because of the classing grouping at the start, but still moving forward nicely with a pretty damaged looking race car, to be honest with you. It's eaten some concrete there, or eaten another car, the front end, pretty crinkled up. This is the battle for Group C at the moment, Canto and Wooten. Not a lot between it. Canto's up 10 spots, Wooten up 3, 19th and 20th place. Got Scott Baker just in front, he just disappeared, so they'll be wary of that. Wary of the fact there might be a little bit of neck code around. There is Baker, yeah, just disappearing again. And a slow car there as well. Luke Claver has just gone very, very slow down the straightaway. Caleb Pattinson, new fastest lap of the race. And someone went straight on there. I think that may have been Scott Baker, it was. So I think he's got some internet troubles and he's decided just to park it up for this race. Back with your race leader. He still leads this one, starting lap 6.2 to go in race number 2. Looks like Jacob Neasley's money's going to land in the right spot. Although have I just spoken too soon, because Harrison's got a great run on him. And here comes Ashley Norman as well. Right on board with Norman. You'll get the bird's eye view of what's going on in front. Down on the low camera here, near the ground. I love the number plates, the Group A number plates. Look at that. I only just noticed that, but that's a beautiful touch by the series organisers, the rear number plate to indicate what class they're in, or what class Lee Harrison's in anyway. Is it on all the cars? Because that would be fantastic. It is. That's incredible. Good job. Always impressed with those sorts of things. So Group A drivers duking it out. The top 11, all in Group A. There's Nick Wood running back in 11th. Simon Joel Smith then leading Group B still. So he's moving along nicely, but his closest rival is Graham Ellis. 3.6 seconds behind, then Jamie Willits just behind him. That's your top 3 in Group B. Then we go to Dylan Canto, who's leading Group C only by a whisker. He's got Brad Wooten and Mark Foster tucked in just behind him. And then Group D is Stuart Patterson, looking pretty comfortable over Darren Linus with a 2.3 second margin at this stage. So what have we got? Just over a lap to go. It's going to be Boyd that leads us onto the pit straight away, although Lee Harrison is right with him. The top 3 have just broken away now from Turner. We've got a 3 second margin between them, Lee Harrison, and this final lap of race 2. And we have a slight warm up after this, just a 5 or so minute break for the drivers to catch their breath before we go to the 14 lap feature. But I've got to be honest, this has been some really clean racing, which we saw last season as well. But at this circuit, I expected with 52 cars, we would be seeing a massive pile up. But these drivers have come out for round 1 and they have really turned it on. So kudos to them and well done to the organisers for building that respect within the cars. Jamie Walker's gone off the track. Stay with this battle for the league. It's going to go down to the wire. There's also a battle for 7th as well, and I'm looking back to the top of this is Wooten battling with Canto. This is for the Group C victory. Canto goes down the inside to take the lead now of Group C. So with it all coming down to the wire, I'll tell you what, Boyd's just run away. And he's got a nice little draft 2 off one of the lap cars, a button, which will help him get to the line to take a 2 from 2 win. In the background, look at Lee Harrison having a last-ditch effort on Ashley Norman to the line. There won't be a lot in it. The checker flag drops for Boydie, who's going to win it. In the background, Ashley Norman gets there just ahead of Harrison. Nice job. There's a couple of cars off the circuit. We go to the Group B. Simon Joel Smith going to take the Group B victory in race 2 ahead of Jamie Willits and Graham Ellis. So the good victory there, up 29 positions. Here goes Willits and Ellis to the line. Graham Ellis just pips him at the post. Gets second in class. Great drive. Up 5 spots. Willett's up 5 as well. Then we go back to Dylan Canto, who will come through and win Group C over Brad Wooten. Nice effort. And then the Group D competitors, it's going to be Darren Linus coming onto the pit straight now, ahead of Dave Gugol to take his first win of the season. So good job, not good clean racing, but nothing can be as good as the carnage in the Porsche Cup Imola a few years ago. Yeah. Didn't we have, yeah, it was Porsche Cup here, wasn't it? Porsche Cup here was massive dust up. I think is it still on the intro video? It definitely was on my intro video for a long time. It was crazy, that crash. Had a car skidding down its roof upside down from memory. Anyway, it's time to get ourselves set. We'll have a quick break now. We'll get the results for you in a second as well, and run through class by class as we did the last time. Boydie in control, 2 from 2. He's on fire, that kid. So Group A results from race number 2. This is how it looks. Well, this is how it should look. There's nothing there. That's because maybe it was a C main, that one. Nah, it's not giving us anything yet. I would have thought it was heat 2. It's not playing ball. We'll just wait a minute. Maybe it was a consolidation. We'll just wait and see what it gives us here in the results. Oh, there we go. Now it's finally giving us, I think, some results. They called it a B main in SDK. Thanks, SDK. Confusing the heck out of me. There's your results, though. Boyd, the Group A winner. And he got himself a 5, nearly 6/10 win there over Ashley Norman and Lee Harris. And Group B went down to the wire, and this is how they finished. Simon Joel Smith beating Ellis to the line, and Willis got a 3rd place there, 6 seconds covering the top 3. Group C, Canto just pipping Wooten on the final lap there by 4/10 of a second. In the end, Mark Foster got himself P3. And the 4th grouping, Group D, Darren Linus gets a win there for Frog Leap Racing, 8/10 ahead of Gugol and Patterson, your top 3 for Group D. Outright, this is how it looked for the 2nd race of the evening. It was Boydie with the win, of course, and Simon Joel Smith there up in 12th place outright. That's a decent effort to mix it amongst the big boys in the Group A. So fantastic job. We'll be back shortly with race number 3, the final race of the night. 14 laps, 1 pit stop required. Should be a bit of a ripper. Righto, it's time for the feature race of the evening. 14 laps, 1 pit stop required for the Roadster Rumble. Round number 1, thanks to Simworx Race Simulators here at Indianapolis. And our 579th broadcast. We're back Wednesday night too with the brand new season of the Australian Sports Sedan. So looking forward to that. They're gritting up now though for the feature race here at the Roadster Rumble. Thanks to all the sponsors that have helped put this together. And can Jack Boyd take 3 from 3 tonight? He'll want to. This is how they will grit up with a little bit of movement and shake, because they do move some of the Group B drivers up into their starting positions. But Jack Boyd will start from pole with Ashley Norman. Harrison and Turner will be off the second row with Ricky and Damien. The third row, Patterson, Oliver, Boyd and Elias round out your top 10. Then it's Nick Wood and Simon Joel Smith will round out the top 12. He is the first of the Group B competitors starting out of P12 tonight. 13th on the grid, Ellis with Willis, then it's Ridley and Morgan, Coleman and Claver down there in 18th place. Canto and Wooten rounds out your top 20 drivers. 21st on the grid, Stassi and Edwards, and it's Fenson and Foster up there in 24th place. 25th on the grid goes to Moroz and Pears, and it's Linus Gogol, McMahon and Van Egman down there in 30th place, and it's Connors, Baker, Patterson and Nelson in 34th, Middleton and Doherty to round out your 36th. We're into the Group D drivers now in the green. 37th is Dutch with Bill Motion, Rodkin, Cuthbertson, Tesseriro down in 41st with Harrison, Paradiso down there in 43rd with John and Caro, Walker, Button and Logan all the way down in 48th place. 49th on the grid, Roberts, Hosking, Thorne and Sam Lehman rounds out your 52 competitors tonight. 52 drivers. Let's get rid of the music. Let's crank up the sound of these MX-5s. Let's get ready to rumble for the final race of the night. Like I said, 1 pit stop required. So we'll just listen into race control a little bit here. Might give us a bit of...
And let's get these Group A guys through nice and early this time. Just slow it right down.
Okay, so they're just trying to bunch up the Group A competitors. That's what they're doing at the moment on this rolling lap to get to the grid. It just separates all the drivers out. So anyone who's out of position there, say a Group C driver that's qualified up amongst the Group Bs, will just be shuffled back to Group C. Which you might think's a little unfair, but they're the rules, and it does make for some great racing. They can obviously work their way up, and being that it's a multi-class championship, it doesn't really matter if you start at the front of Group D and you're in Group D. That's the best place to be. All you got to do is beat your other Group D competitors and you'll win yourself a championship. Over $4,000 worth of prizes in this series. One of the most generous series I think I've ever seen. So Greg Holmes does a great job, and the drivers absolutely love it. And they're getting ready to go racing again. So halfway through the track, you can see the Group B drivers now filing in behind the Group A's. Then we look back further to Dylan Canto. He's there with Group C and Group D. Their little party about to get started as well. So they're just leaving a bit of distance. You can see they're almost out of sight, the Group B drivers up the road for our Group C competitors. So Ashley Norman and Boyd at the front row. Boyd obviously on pole position will get set to go. Can he get 3 from 3? That's what Jacob Measley wants to know. I reckon he may just do. Let's go, Jack. Send it, says Jacob. He's been pretty good tonight at fending off any challenges as well. So when will they pit? It is compulsory, because you won't get to the end without at least one little splash and dash in this race. So they hold position as they come around the final turn. Get ready for the iRacing Green and Jack Boyd to push his foot right through the firewall of that MX-5 and try and get all of the 181 horsepower extracted from that 2-litre naturally aspirated motor. And here we go. Race number 3 for the first round of the Roadster Rumble is underway. And a pretty good start out in front, you got to say, by Boyd once again. I think he's getting a push from Harrison behind, who's just helping him on his way. Yeah, look at that. So definitely a little bit of bump drafting going on already in this race. They get through pretty cleanly, do they? Yep. Once again, fantastic start. Let's have a look at the Group C and D. Look at this pack of cars. So Group C and D, almost 6 wide as we head down towards turn 1. They'll compact up and try and find a single line through there, which they do well. Wow, it's up on the grass a little bit there for Pears and Connor, I think, fighting through with Linus on the outside. But good get-go once again. Everyone being well behaved. Boyd leads out in front. 0.6 of a second. This is exactly what he did in the first race. This time he's got 14 laps though to try and bring it home. So 14 times a minute and 40 plus a pit stop. It's going to be a challenge to keep it running and keep it smooth for that amount of time. Caleb Patterson's made up 2 spots. Glenn Boyd as well. Good to see him starting to come to the party. Sitting in 7th place now, up 2 positions. In the other Boyd racing car, he's got Aaron Oliver right behind him, like a little chihuahua nipping at his heels. The opening lap of this race, but could we see some Boyd 1-2s throughout this season? I wouldn't count it out, that's for sure. There's contact between Norman. Norman goes around. Ashley Norman made some contact there with, I think it may have been Patterson. He's going to drop way down the order with that, and that's a bit of heartbreak there. Let's have a quick look at a replay. See if we can't just work out who it was. So it was the 460 went up on the curb there, made a little bit of contact, and it was just that extra little bit of contact from Ricky that unfortunately unsettled the Chicken Up racing car, and around he goes into the fence. So he drops all the way back. Boyd still leads from Harrison. There's more going on there as they cross the finish line. I think it was the 65 car or the 55 car. Putting a little complaint into race control, but they've gapped away Boyd and Harrison. Turner and Patterson, 3rd and 4th, just staying in touch as well, but they've dropped back over a second now off the lead. It's still Canto leading Group C. That battle between himself and Moroz, that's gapped out as well. And Stuart Patterson. Oh, hello, sideways. We've got a bit of carnage back in the field. And that was it Patterson? It was.
Control 32, lap 2.
So Patterson, who was leading Group D, has just gone around and unfortunately has dropped way back to the rear field for Stuart. So that's a bit of heartbreak there. So now leading Group D is Dave Gogol. And he's done well in the Red Bull car tonight to be up there, 35th outright. But that little crash there, I wonder if there'll be some repercussions for that. Let's have a quick look at the replay. Stuart Patterson, here it is. So was there contact beforehand? I'm just having a look. So Patterson in the middle there. Tried to avoid the car on the inside and then hard on the brakes. Went up the inside of the 33, so actually it might be Patterson's fault, that one. And spun the car around, so that I think will be a penalty handed in the way of 197, Stuart Patterson. Back live with our race leader, Lee Harrison, ahead of Jack Boyd now, so he's got the move done. Leads the race here on lap 3 of 14, a long way to go though, no point counting your chickens too soon. A couple of drivers in the pit lane. Remember, we will have 1 pit stop in this race, so it's definitely strategic. Something you can think about, something a little bit different. Maybe jump in early, get your pit stop out of the way, maybe run late, run as long as you can until that fuel light comes on. But wow, he's really hounding the back of him. Jack Boyd all over the back. Doing a bit of fuel saving there. You can hear that lift out of the throttle prior to the braking zone, and I reckon Jack is going to enjoy this. He'll just save fuel, and when it comes to the pit stop he'll be able to take maybe a half a second less. He'll leapfrog Lee Harrison that way. I'm impressed with Patterson here, keeping up. Turner as well, and Glenn Boyd now up into 5th. He's also got himself within shot of a podium tonight in the Boyd Racing number 2 car.
Avoiding an incident there.
So that was an interesting point through race control. They're going to review someone asking for a black flag to be cleared. And he was avoiding an incident. That's why he got the black flag. I like that. I like that aspect. I like that race control can review that sort of thing and not just do it. They'll justify or see if it's justified before they actually go and release that black flag from the driver in question. Graham Ellis is in a good scrap, back in 19th place with Andrew Dutch just in front. Dutchy there in the 51 car with the 55 hounding him for position 18. Andrew Dutch up 19 spots. Graham Ellis has dropped back a couple in this race. And then Keith Logan's just sitting in behind Ellis as well in 20th. So inside the top 20 for Keith. Southern Cross Racing has been a great supporter. 40 weeks straight. Star Sender Keith Logan, absolute legend. And we're on board with him now, just watching as a heap of cars are now in the pits. So we've got Thorne, Pears, Connor, Rodkin and Cuthbertson, all in the pit lane on lap 4, bringing it a 10-lap dash home for them. This is the battle for the lead still. It's still Jack Boyd Racing out in front. 0.2 of a second. This is just helping this is helping third and fourth reattach now to the battle for first and second. You noted that they were out to about 1.5 to 2 seconds at some point. Now it's back down to about 0.8 between first and third as Harrison goes the long way around. Jump on board with him now. He's alongside Boydie. Oh, that's as close as you want to get. Boyd gives him a nudge. You've got to try not to unsettle the car. When you do that off-center nudge like that, it can really turn the other car around. And oh, was that a crash in the background? I definitely heard someone clout the fence. Maybe it was just over the curves there. It was a big sound, wasn't it? Aaron Oliver has had a huge crash there, so I wonder if that was the sound we heard. It was a couple of Group A drivers. And I'm going to go back and have a quick look at that because I think Losh might have been the other one involved. So here's your replay. It was down 3 or 4 wide once again. How many times we've seen this? And and Losh went across straight into Oliver. Poleaxed him. So huge crash. That's what happened. Let's have a look from Losh's perspective. Did he get a touch as well? So we'll slow it down. Losh moves across there. Just misjudges it. Look at that. He misjudged the move and straight into the side of the 70 car. And then they both just hammer the fence. And that's race-ending damage for both Losh and Oliver, sadly. Losh carried on, but that thing's toast, as they say in iRacing. Looks like your car's toast. All right, let's get back to live. We are on lap 5 of 14. There is Oliver limping back to the pits. Lee Harrison still leads from Boyd. Patterson's now rejoined this little battle. On board with him now in third position. So you can see he's starting to eye off moving to the front now. He'll go maybe 3 wide down the inside. No, he backs out of it. He's happy just to follow Jack Boyd back into the lead now. Harrison second, Caleb Patterson running P3. Smith still leads Group B at the moment. That is Simon Joel Smith from Motorsport Haulers Racing. So he's just back a little bit. There he is. Behind his teammate who's in Group A. So Owen Coleman, his teammate, one of the Group A competitors. Group B for Simon Joel Smith. Leading Group C, it's still Dylan Canto. Foster behind him. 1.3 seconds back up the road. And leading Group D, it's the Red Bull car 7-2 Racing. 72. This man Dave Golgol. So Carnage give Oliver an 8 for the roll, says Jacob. It was not a bad little pike and a twist. He definitely did get poleaxed. All right, so the leaders are now starting to come up behind some lap traffic. It's pretty busy. I mean, it's a big circuit, this one, but still, when you've got 52 cars out there, you can see the traffic is up the road. So 45th and 46th about to caught by the race leader here, Jack Boyd. And then you got 44th and 43rd also not too far up the road from them. So in the next couple of laps, it's going to be a little bit of navigating to get through the field here. I'm sure Jack Boyd's prepared for that though, isn't he? So his racecraft all well in tune. Caleb Patterson though is trying to take advantage of this. Any little lift from Boydie will see this man try and sneak through. How about the run from Lee Harrison up against the fence as well? Harrison's got a great run around the outside, and he actually goes to the lead momentarily because I think down the inside, oh, he does go to the lead. He sweeps around the outside. Lee Harrison, what a move. And he's got himself the 26 car into the lead of this race. But Caleb Patterson goes through, says, hey, get out of my way. I'm leading this race. What are you doing? And all of a sudden, Patterson's back in the lead. Now Harrison gets a good run off the outer curb and gets back into the lead. 2 by 2. Jack Boyd can see all this from behind. He doesn't know what's going on. Now we're on board with Boyd. He moves back into second now as he dices with Patterson and now Harrison again. So we're halfway through this race and these guys are delivering at the front. Lee Harrison out in front now by 0.2 of a second. Eggman, sorry, back in 12th place. Now, Harrison and Patterson have both just jumped in the pits. This is interesting. So this is their time. They're going to jump in, take the fuel required to get to the end of the race. I think it's a pretty short splash and dash. A couple of seconds worth of fuel, no doubt. We'll just watch Lee and see exactly how long he's stationary for. It's a long run down the pit lane here to find his box, isn't it? It's right towards the end. So let's just count this as he hits the marks now. And oh, he had to back up, so there you go. That's cost him a couple of, or at least a second. Did it pretty well, but it's still going to cost him a little bit of time there in the pit stop. And Harrison drops out with 9.5 seconds. So it was a 9.5 second pit stop. And how does that compare to others around him? It's 8.0 for Seeger, 9.1 for Patterson, 9.5 for Harrison. 8.0 for Seeger, I said. 12.4 for Nick Wood. Nick Wood's back there in 18th place. So the top 11 yet to come into the pits. So will they come in this lap? I presume we must be pretty close to being out of fuel if everyone's starting to dive in. Boyd just racks off a few extra lap cars and I think he's heading to the lane. So let's watch the entry to the pit lane. Flat stick until you see the yellow cones, and you must be down onto the pit limiter by then. If you're not, you will get a slap on the wrist. So there's the limiter for him, 90 kph or around there. I'm sure the radar gun's set right on him now. And behind we've got Boyd, Turner, Coleman and Simon Joel Smith now in the pit lane for their one and only pit stop. So we'll keep an eye on Lee Harrison. This is the man that has stopped and is trying for the undercut on Jack Boyd, who's leading the race. So he's just coming down through 80% mark of the lap now and through the final corner onto the pit straight. I'll leave you, I'll let you know when Boyd drops off the jacks. He's 5-6 seconds now into his stop. 7.7, so a really short stop there for Jack Boyd. He leaves the pit lane there. Where's Lee Harrison? Lee's in the background. There's Lee. So Boyd's got out well in front. And that short stop, well, that's just some fuel saving. That's a master stroke again tonight by Jack Boyd. So 7.75 versus 9.5 stationary in the stop for Lee Harrison. And Caleb also 9.1. So about 2 seconds the difference. And that's about 2 seconds on the racetrack, so perfect stop. He's just got 3 competitors in front of him, Willits, Eggman and Fenson. All those drivers yet to pit. All those drivers Group B competitors, by the way. So we've got a Group B driver, Willits leading the race at the moment. Foster still leads Group C, and Harrison rounds out your Group D drivers with Boyd, top Group A driver, destined to head to the top step of the podium, I think, for a 3 from 3 in round number 1, which would be the perfect start as Fenson with this brand new livery on the car. Gets the tail end all wagging around. Hill Motion's gone off the circuit. Comes back on the 101 car. Goes for a little adventure. Rejoins. So here's your race leader. Willits into the pits now. Jamie has got it round to lap 9. About to start lap 10. Will stop for fuel. I presume Matt Van Egmond, no, he goes on. So he's got enough room in that tank for another lap. enough fuel in the tank. Carries on for another lap. What about Fenson? He also carries on, so there you go. So Matt Van Egmond will lead the race. Fenson will move up into second. Jack Boyd will go through. Now back into third. The top two yet to stop. There's your pit strategy board, as you can see. And Willits, who's in the lane now, will register a blue line after this stop. And Harrison and Patterson also move up. Now fourth and fifth. Turner up into sixth. Hill Motion after that little spin has dropped down the order a little bit to seventh now. So not a lot in strategy-wise. Get in, get the fuel on board as quickly as you can. Just having a look at the transit time too through the lane, because not only was it a 2-second difference in the pit stop from Jack Boyd to Lee Harrison, outright it was 5 seconds. So the pit entry, he really attacked the line, and he is 5 seconds quicker throughout the whole pit stop. So that's incredible. Hence why he's got that track position of 4.5 seconds. So something Lee Harrison will no doubt look at for the next race. Just needs to improve how quickly he gets in the box, and a lot of that's to do with having to reverse the car when you don't actually make your pit box perfectly the first time. Patterson and Marty Turner fighting here over what will be, I think, the final podium place once everything pans out. At the moment, Patterson is in for third. Turner and Hill Motion right on their tail. Although Adam Hill Motion has yet to stop for his pit stop, so he'll get dropped out of the mix very, very soon. So there's Boydie. Towards the lane goes Fenson. We could just see him disappearing off to the right, left-hand side of your screen now. There goes Fenson for his fuel stop. Did Van Egmond carry on? He did. Mate, he must have the SL5000 drop tank in the back of this MX-5. Full of juice tonight, and he's going for another lap here. Going as late as he can on the fuel strategy. Boyd up into P2. Harrison 3 now. And dicing behind. Let's go back to group, little battle back in group B and C. This is Jimmy Middleton and Graham Ellis just up the road. There's basically a couple of tenths between each of these drivers. As, oh boy, Stassi's close now. Look at this battle. This is Stassi and Claver, the two Simworx racing drivers. Nothing in between those two as they sweep through turn 1 into the infield section and onto the scene. The down under Sim Esports driver Cameron Edwards gets involved too. There's Edwards in a few crashes in the earlier races tonight, but the car's looking beautiful in race 3. So Monday nights are back here, Racestars TV, with the Roadster Rumble, and Matt Van Egmond's had a crash. Yet to stop for fuel, and has also knocked the front end off that car. So that is not ideal. We will have Roadster Rumbles once again back on your screens pretty much every Monday night. Even next Monday for the long weekend we'll be here, and give or take whether or not I need a week off here or there, we'll be every Monday night for the next 6 weeks for this season number 5. So that's fantastic. Right, Van Egmond now finally comes to the lane. That means Jack Boyd will retake the lead in lap 12. Looking very comfortable tonight, isn't he? Let's go back to this battle for 12th place. Egmond is leading Group B, and he's a fair way up the road. He's in the pits now. He will probably come out pretty close, I reckon, to still leading Group B with that long strategy. We'll see how it pans out. Stassi at the moment is set to take the lead in Group B, depending on how quickly he can get the stop done. He's 8 seconds stationary now, 9 seconds, and still in the pits. 10 seconds it was, he took fuel. And Stassi will go through to now lead Group B. Claver goes through as well. So does Coleman, Edwards, Simon Joel Smith. He just gets past Edwards in the background. And we got a crash up the road. It was Glenn Boyd. Oh no, he just went wide, he's okay. So Glenn Boyd's up into 6th now. Lucas Stassi up 12 spots into 9th. One of our biggest movers and shakers in the top 10. And a shout to Andrew Dutch up 22 spots in 15th. He's moving along very nicely in this feature race tonight. But Jack Boyd back out in front. Simon Joel Smith just said, come on, Cameron. I wonder what happened between those two. There was a little bit of contact, I reckon. Let's see if I can find it for you. So was this it here? Simon Joel Smith and Cameron Edwards getting together. Maybe at turn 1. Replay. So this this is the run into turn 1. This is, I think, where the comment was made. 46 goes in from behind. Now, do they close up and make contact here? Will look good up through this point. What happens a little bit further up the road? There it was. So that was the contact. That's why he jumped out onto race control. In fact, he didn't call race control. He just called up his fellow driver and said, "Come on, mate. What's that all about?" Righto, back with your leader as we come on to lap 13 now. So penultimate lap of the race. Caleb Patterson is within now 2/10 of Marty Turner. Let's go back to this Ashley Norman and Cameron Edwards battle, because there's a little bit of chili flavouring in this one now between these three. There's a little bit of history as well after what happened on the last lap. Let's see if we get a little bit more of that this time through. So it's Ashley Norman round the corner in front of Simon Joel Smith, and Cameron Edwards falls back in place. So not this time. We see them all pretty careful. Well, that was right here, the contact on the previous lap, wasn't it? It was down the inside right there. Not this time. Thinks better of it. Glenn Boyd's battling with Nick Wood. This is for 6th place. Glenn's trying to hang on around the outside now. That becomes the inside. Good job, Glenn Boyd, father of Jack. Good to see both of them out there in the top 6 again tonight. But Nick Wood's looking fast as in this last part of the race as he closes the margin, gets alongside. I think we'll fire it down the inside. Does. So Nick Wood gets himself up into 6th now, puts Boydie back to 7th. Jack Boyd, meanwhile, about to start the final lap of the race. Still carving his way through lap traffic. The 58, he's about to make it 3 from 3 tonight. It's been a wonderful effort. But like I said, he's looked untouchable out there. No one's been able to get close, really. So what a way to start season 5. Full points, 100% result. Just what the doctor ordered. So final lap now, white flag drops. Let's go back to Group C really quickly. Dylan Canto still leading that one. There's not a lot of battles in Group C. And Dave Gogol still leading Group D, ahead of Darren Linus by just over a second and a quarter. So looks pretty comfortable on this final lap to be able to bring that home as well. Stassi and Ridley fighting over 8th. And in the background, there's Coleman and Claver and Norman. Oh, was there contact there? There was contact. I saw it just out of the corner of my eye. Owen Coleman goes around and...
Race control, can you have a look at the first corner, lap 14?
There you go. Race control being asked to have a look at that one. That was a big moment.
Yeah, look at the first corner, lap 14, number 7.
So we'll just suss that out. Just sort out the corner of the screen. Down the bottom as we watch Jack Boyd bringing it to the line. It was a big dive down the inside, and the old send unfortunately took Coleman with him. Coleman not very happy, understandably. Might be a post-race penalty on that one as we head down towards the line now. It's only a quarter of the lap to go, and Jack Boyd to take 3 from 3 in this opening round of the Roadster Rumble, thanks to Simworx Race Simulations.
The race control, I think it was last lap, corner 5, I think it was.
Been a perfect run. Full points. Good way to start off his count for this 6-round series. The checker flag drops and Boydie takes a comfortable win, 3.8 seconds over Lee Harrison, who gets to the line just ahead of Patterson, who beats Turner. Then you got Seeger and Glenn Boyd who come through for 5th and 6th place. This is the run to the line now, so Seeger does get 5th. Boydie, will he hold on from Nick Wood? Oh, it's a line call across the line, 6 milliseconds between them. Boyd gets it, gets 6th over Wood. Stassi gets 8th ahead of Ridley, and then Cameron Edwards gets 10th. Hey, Lucas Stassi, by the way, 8th outright, top Group B driver. That's an incredible result right up there. Dylan Canto is on to finish this one and win Group C. And at the moment, it looks like Google will win Group D as well. So as they come around to the line to finish up the 3rd race, the feature race tonight, we're going to see this format throughout this Roadster Rumble series. The 3 races, 2 sprints, and then a feature race. I love it. It's a great way of doing it. But as they cross the line, Dylan Canto gets the win, Group C, How good was this guy tonight? Jack Boyd, too strong. He takes the win. We'll wrap it up. We'll have some interviews shortly. We'll go through and have a look as well and hear what the drivers think about this brand new season. Don't go anywhere. Race results coming up on the screen now, and it was a win to Jack Boyd over Lee Harrison and Caleb Patterson. Your top three in Group A. Let's run through the groupings. There's Group A now, and like I said, great win for Boydie. Group B, the win went to Stassi ahead of Dutch and Simon Joel Smith for P3. The Group C championship for tonight's first round goes to Canto, Foster and Moroz in that order, and then Group D tonight goes to Gogol with Linus and Rodkin taking out the minor placings. See you, Will. See you, Joke, and thanks for tuning in tonight. Let's go down and hopefully chat to a couple of drivers. I'm just going to head across to the broadcast booth now and see if I can't get their attention. Jack Boyd on the cool down lap here, looking the part. That was beautiful. Well, let's get him in. So we've got Jack Boyd. First of all, congratulations, Jack, on a fantastic win tonight. 3 out of 3, mate. You looked the part tonight. Good way to kick off a new championship.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was an awesome night of racing again. Good to have Lee back. We'll have some, we'll have some good scraps through the season. So yeah, it was a good way to start the season. I think the racing was pretty clean from what I saw. So yeah, awesome way to start.
Yeah, look at that in front, mate. The cars, obviously a massive field of cars. Did you see in your mirrors, there was 52 drivers out there tonight. Incredible.
Yeah, my PC was getting a bit of a workout, that's for sure. Look in the mirrors and there's just an endless train of cars, which is awesome for the league. So yeah, the boys have been putting in some awesome work. The league's really thriving right now. So it's yeah, good to be a part of.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, good race win tonight. We'll come back to you shortly with some thank yous. Lee, we'll go to you second, mate. Gee, you had some good little dices out there tonight. The slipstreaming was strong down the pit straight and some good wheel-to-wheel battles, but P2 in the feature.
Yeah, happy with that. Like Jack said, it's been a little while since I've jumped on and had a run. Been about 3 months, so good way to kick off the season. Hopefully we keep the momentum flowing. Good to be battling up there again with Jack and a few of the other guys, the Chicken Up boys as well. Everyone kept it nice and clean, which is what you want to see when you're on a slipstream heavy track like this.
Yeah, great racing tonight. And then Caleb, well done as well. Is he here? Caleb's not here, is he? No, he's not. All right, we'll flick across. We'll do the thank yous for our Group A drivers then, and then we'll, unless Caleb comes in, we'll head across then to Dylan. So first of all, Jack, with the win tonight, who would you like to thank, man?
Yeah, just again, thanks to everyone behind the scenes. It's another season, so yeah, the boys have been putting in heaps of work to set all this up, and yeah, even on the relative, we've got our little class names on there, which would have taken ages. So
yep.
props to whoever did that. Yeah, just thanks to everyone, and yeah, thanks to you for the stream.
You're welcome, man. And Lee, who would you like to thank, mate, for P2?
Yeah, of course, all the series sponsors. There's a whole bunch that have come on board, so thanks to everybody that's helped get the league up and running. Zagari Concrete, Envisagen, Stitched Up, Aussie Water Carts, Cookie Monster Adelaide, Southern Trim Shop, SA Brothers, IR, and of course my loyal sponsors, Palmer's Australia. The hands are feeling it after tonight, so it's time to go and chuck some more moisturiser on and get these hands back to how they should be.
Nice one, mate. And the car looks great too. The Palmers will be very happy with that. Beautiful looking livery.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Let's flick over to Dylan now. Now, Dylan, you were down there in Group C, right? And you've got yourself a win in the feature.
Yeah, it was good racing. I was lucky to fend off Foster and Moz at the end. It looked like they were getting quite close at the end on my relative. Lucky to fend them off, get ahead on the pit stops.
Yeah, great racing, man. And obviously you were back in the thick of things. Like I said to the guys up the front, you know, you look in the mirrors and see 52 cars. What's it like when you're back in Group C and you're basically stuck in the middle of 52 cars.
Yeah, you just got to get through that carnage. It's a mess. You just got to kind of take it easy on the first lap, and then, yeah, you just got to get through it all, push on, and then, push for the lead.
Awesome, mate. Well, good win tonight. Might get you some sponsors on the car. Who would you like to thank?
I'd just like to thank all the people behind the league. The amount of effort they put in is just unnoticed by a lot. So I think we need to appreciate what they do.
100%, man. Good words. So well done tonight, Dylan. Winner of Class C or Group C. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right, so that's it for tonight. That's thanks to Jack with the win tonight, coming in for a chat. Lee as well with P2. And then, of course, Dylan coming in from Group C. So thanks, boys. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers. Right, that's it for tonight, folks. How cool is the racing again tonight with, 4 classes now, Group A, B, C, and D. But they're going to have to do something about stopping this bloke. Jack Boyd, too strong. He is absolutely on fire tonight with 3 from 3, way to kick off his championship. Thanks for everyone that tuned in tonight. Thanks for everyone over on Facebook as well. Thanks, Tyson, for the stars, man. And Keith as well. You guys take care. Back on Wednesday night for a brand new season of the Sports Sedans. Until then, good night.